Some people prefer to address their sins with different names. You know, they've got a sin problem and they know that they have a sin nature and they commit sins, but you know, because they've got this sin nature that they're kind of dominates them and they don't like it, so they try to give it a better name, you know, so it sounds better, you know. Well, my sin, it's an illness. Our world is filled with that kind of thinking right now. We will relabel sin. We'll call it illness. It's an illness. And you know, illness, people get colds. You don't really judge them for having a cold, do you? Well, unless they come to church with it, you know. You might judge that, you know. You know. But most of the time we don't judge people, you know, if they have a cold, you know, someone calls up and says, they're sniffling, I'm sorry, I've got a cold today. And you don't say, oh, you wicked person, because they have a cold. You don't do that. And so, you know, it's an illness. They're just sick, you know. And so sometimes our society has done that, and we've relabeled sin, bondage, addictions, and we call it, you know, it's an illness. Or sometimes, you know, even the word addiction sounds better than, I'm just a sinner, you know. Even that sounds better. Or sometimes we'll use the word failure, you know. And there are times, I think there's a difference between a sin and a failure. I think there are some things that we do that are failures, not sins, but they're failures, shortcomings. But those are terms that we'll use sometimes for our sin, because we really don't like the sin in our life, and we know that it's there. We don't like it, and we're really embarrassed by it. We don't want to be open, outspoken, and confronted with our sin. So we come up with names like illness and addiction and failure and weakness and shortcomings. You know, those kinds of terms, because just trying to find a better way to address it than call it what it really is. It's sin, and it's sin against God.